I never go in for an ask first. I always go in for that shared understanding. Are we connected? Do we have the same value system? Are we thinking in the same light about the outcomes that we want to achieve, that great alignment? And then you get to go in and you get to pull a little bit deeper. I'm thinking this, and I think that it's going to be really great if we're partnered together.
Hey, aloha, everybody. If your mission-driven business is struggling to scale, it might not be your passion. It might be your partnerships. In today's episode, we're talking about how small business owners and nonprofit leaders can stop trying to do it all alone and start building smarter collaborations that actually grow their impact.
Today, we're chatting with Natalie Worthan. Natalie Worthan is the founder and CEO of Veterans Collaborative, a nonprofit dedicated to increasing access to services and opportunities for veterans through grassroots partnerships and entrepreneurship. She helps mission-led organizations multiply their impact by connecting local resources, building sustainable programs, and supporting those who've served. Hey, Selena.
Hey, I'm super excited. I know we have recorded our other episode, but today is our first episode with a guest, and I'm so excited. So look, we decided we're gonna be like right into the knit and grit. So we are gonna just bring our guest Natalie up because it's just important that you know that she's here, right?
Absolutely.
Are we ready, Anna?
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much.
Welcome to the show. If we could, we do a little selfie with you. We have an imaginary cameraman that's going to still shot this for all of us. You can do this, whatever you feel is appropriate for your selfie picture, but we're going to call it hashtag Keep Ditch Try Selfie. So,
I love it.
3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, we're going to take
I'm
an
aware
Anna.
this for me, by the way. I'm just like,
Natalie, this is going to be a great podcast. I just feel it. Anna, go ahead. Let's get started. Let's dig in.
Okay, so our conversation today is going to start with our main question, which is, Natalie, what does an effective partnership look like for a small business or nonprofit?
first, we have to just tackle the elephant in the room, and that nonprofits and small businesses, we're all playing by the same playbook, right? So even nonprofit corporations, we are corporations and we have to be profitable and charitable right at the same time. And so partnerships, no matter where we are, the lifeblood, they're relationships. They're just the lifeblood of what you do. They're the most important thing that you build, honestly, within your charitable mission or within your organization, your for-profit corporation. How we approach partnerships is pretty simple. I'm going to give you kind of a little acronym for it. Let's call it TAG, okay? Trust, alignment, guardrails. And the first and the foremost is that trust. I think it's the privilege of your life, who you do business with. I think that as we're growing and entrepreneurs, building missions, building impact, whatever it is, you have to start with that values add in any relationship that you have. And trust is paramount. You build trust before you build anything else, really. And then we get to go into that great alignment, which is all about that clarity. And for me, it's about the purpose behind the relationship. It's the why. And I get really excited about it because, I'm always asking people to think outside the box. You do today, but what we can do together and how we move forward, especially in the space that we're in, human-centered work and charitable missions. We're driving impact at the local level for those who have served our nation. And so for me, it's getting the right people on the bus and in the seat. And so we can move forward with clarity.
Okay, so I just have a quick question for you then. Like, you start out with trust and then the alignment. What I see happening a lot of times is where you meet somebody, but you're not quite sure how to formulate an ask. So where do you come up with the ask? Where's the alignment part of it?
So, at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of times we go in with something that we need in our head. And I try to go in with a blank canvas. Before I ever go into a conversation, I rarely do any research on the individual I'm meeting with. I really like it to be natural. I know that sounds nuts, right? You're like, what? But for me, I want it to be a natural alignment. I want to hear a story. I want to be connected. I want to know that we have a foundation to stand upon and we have values that are connecting us and that we can move forward together. And in the cases where we don't, it was just like, oh, that was really great. So I never go into any type of partnership, and partnerships are actually different for everyone. So it could be a donor as a partner, your constituents who you're serving could be partners. We have grantees or people as part of our programs, and we consider like an ecosystem of partners, but we have folks that we do different things with. So I never go in for an ask first. I always go in for that shared understanding. Are we connected? Do we have the same value system? Are we thinking in the same light about the outcomes that we want to achieve, that great alignment? And then you get to go in and you get to pull a little bit deeper. I'm thinking this, and I think that it's going to be really great if we're partnered together and we're able to move forward in a different way. So then comes the ask. I was in executive fundraising, so that's nonprofit business development for the majority of my career before I started Veterans Collaborative, and never went out on a first call and said, this is what I want from you. Right. I always think that it is a conversation. It's not only asking about what I can do for you, but what you can do for me. Like, it's a relationship, right? And at the end of it, when it works and you're connected and you're aligned, that's where the magic happens. Rushing into a partnership or an ask too soon can actually end up leaving something on the table that I really don't think you want to leave. Right. So for me, that alignment will come after those great discovery calls.
Ooh, for just kind of stepping back in a second, I love that you are sharing that people have to understand that the ask is not always the same. It's not cut and paste for this new person that you're going to ask, and that learning who they are and how you guys can help each other is going to be different, and how you're going to serve each other can be different.
Yeah. Absolutely. I always view these partnerships as in the terms of the 3 T's: time, talent, and treasure. So everyone has something to give. And being able to understand that connection with your needs, it's not always monetary. It's not always like the big unicorn partnership. So it's everyone has something to give to move the needle forward. And understanding that I think is just essential to growth. I'll tell you this story. I'm not going to mention them by name, but I got a good friend of mine. He's a mentor, and he could absolutely underwrite my budget for years and years and years to come in the future. And to this day, I've never asked this individual for any funding. Number one, in a discovery meeting, I realized what motivated him. So what was his personal connection to how he did his philanthropic investments? And I understood it. He told me, and it was just a very brief thing about what he said, but I listened intently. And I also realized that there's something greater that he brings to the table for me. And it's not, everybody needs money, okay? So I'm not turning it away, but it wasn't that. The value of that connection, his mentorship, it's worth its weight in gold. And so I meet quarterly with him as a partner and as a mentor. And to this day, I have not asked him for a dime, but I value him in a different way. It's not about what he can give me financially. It's about what he gives to me in the terms of leadership development and opportunity, in the terms of just sharing with him, right? Like a CEO to a CEO or a mentor to a mentoree. That's how I look at it. And it is worth its weight in gold. So I don't get too focused on what you need, and understand the value of doing discoveries and really understanding what others need as well. That's part of building a relationship, and that's part of effective partnerships.
So there's this story I heard. I was listening to a conversation that was about building collaborations and partnerships. And it was talking about how you should show up to a conversation like that, like a Christmas morning, where you're laden with gifts, ready to give, right? Where you should absolutely have things that you are like, here's what I have to offer you. So if you're not confident in what you can give another organization, right? If you're not confident in knowing exactly where your value for them will lie, what's the best way to do that discovery of trying to figure out where that partnership can be really a true give and take, and it's not just you getting and them not really getting anything, something that makes it valuable for both sides?
I think in the world that I live in, I always talk about philanthropic investment, and that's what I've been in for my entire 23 plus career here. So for me, it's not transactional. It's very transformational. I don't like a transaction at all. Number one, it's inefficient. And I'm going to spend a ton of money chasing something that's just going to be a once in a blue moon type of thing. It's not where I put my effort and my energy in. But when we think about alignment and true alignment and understanding someone, like really understanding what motivates people, that's where magic happens. I think that's the most important thing that I could give. I think a lot of times we rush. We think we haven't I can't tell you. I think my model of fiscal sponsorship, that we share our charitable umbrella, and I have 34 national operating organizations across this country that are under our umbrella. And, how we always look at how you develop these partnerships is that they were like, hey, slow down, understand where you live today, understand your value, understand your story. And when you're going and you're connecting with other individuals and trying to bring them along with you, that's the real struggle, is people understanding where they are today, what value they have, what their mission can do. And that really only comes through the act of doing for me. So go out and do it. And then you're going to be able to talk about it a little bit more effectively and bring those folks along. But not one come to us that's not, well, actually, that's not true. About half, I will say, will come to us and they will be like, here's my unicorn wish list. And it's fantastic. And I have to be not the bearer of bad news, but I have to be, I can't even believe I am this, because I'm that visionary. So I'm usually the balloon up in the air, but I got to like tether people down a little bit and say, listen, I know that you see that, that big shiny flashing light over there, but I need you to understand where you are today. And so when it really starts in local, your network, your community, being able to build those partnerships and that investment around what you're doing at the local level, and then you expand, right? I always say regional, state, and then that national brand. Once you have that trusted, I guess it is a trusted brand, right? And so that track record for success and how you're able to talk about it becomes a little bit more easy, because you're doing something about it, right? You're actually achieving that mission and that vision and those goals that you have aligned for yourself. So you don't really have that kind of gap because you're already doing it. It is that confidence from, in my opinion, just doing.
Yeah. Okay. I have one more question. I'm sorry. I'm monopolizing the questioning here. But I have another question. If we were to switch this, because you specialize in the nonprofit arena, right? Where that partnership and collaboration, especially for donors and being able to fund the kind of the initiatives, is really super important. When you're switching that and looking at it from the perspective of a small business owner, is there anything you would change about what you're saying? Or is it just as important to have the trust, the alignment, and then the guardrails in place for small businesses that maybe aren't looking for donors in that sense, but true collaborations where you're boosting or marketing for each other or supporting in campaigns or something along those lines?
All right. In a perfect world, we're just going to go ahead and say that all of the back end's already taken. You've got a clear vision. You've got a clear mission. You've got a strategy for success. So let's just go and say all of that is taken care of in the back end. You're aligned internally, and that is represented on this external plane here as we're building partnerships, because that's the focus today. The playbook doesn't change. In my opinion, I think that every single thing starts at square peg one. It's that trust. Like how you build relationships is, do I trust you? And are we aligned? That tag, that great little tag I said. And then the guardrails, understanding that these things don't happen in church. Okay. It depends on the level of partnerships that you have. And so I believe in when you're going to partner and you're lending your name and your brand to somebody else, or somebody's lending it to you, you have to be able to have those guardrails in place, those great little MOUs, whatever it is. But in terms of what happens and how I approach it, no, I wouldn't approach it any differently. In fact, I don't approach it any differently. We advise a lot of for-profit corporations and how to build, their partnerships and their advising strategies. And I just don't see it any different way. I think you start with trust. You have a great product. You have a great team. You're doing exactly what you say you're going to do in the world. And then you go for those alignment. That start with why is just so important to how we do our business. But it also translates, if you've ever read that book, Start With Why. So it also translates in the for-profit world. It's like people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And if you go and you look at some of the most successful companies in our nation, whether it's Apple or Southwest Airlines, I mean, that they're probably referenced in this book as well. But you saw the story, right? We want to put a computer in everybody's pocket. Like that was the vision, and it made it very human centered, which is really important. It's about that mission and what you're going to do. And I think more people come along with that instead of saying, yeah, give me $50,000 and we'll go and do, this like that. That's just never going to come out of my mouth one way or another. And I always feel like if you start there, people are going to be like, oh, that was great. I understand what this is. It's a very transactional thing. And for me, that's just not where magic lives.
I love this so much.
I do too. I even wrote down, I think my favorite line so far that you've said is, it is the transformative conversation, not a transactional conversation that you're having on these discovery calls. And I think it makes such a big difference in probably just the longevity of what you're creating with this new partnership,
Yeah,
right?
like collaborative. And I can't ignore like the fact that this is usually on founders' shoulders and they're usually a team of ones. I've been there. So I'm not trying to skip over any of the challenges in building partnerships, but I also think it's just so important that you know where you live and the landscape that you're in, and that you spend your time effectively as a CEO or as a leader or an executive building things that are sustainable and that work and that are aligned with your values. I just think anything else, you're just chasing squirrels.
Can I just tell you how timely this is? Literally like a half an hour ago, Selena and I were talking about needing to build a foundation in which to build these collaborations and partnerships, to really have a structure so that we were intentional about what we were asking or what we were doing or where we were coming from. So I feel like I'm like, pat myself on the back here. Yeah, we're doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah. Natalie would be proud. Natalie would be proud.
I love it. No, you guys are amazing.
No, I love it. Okay, look, I'm the timekeeper kind of gal. So we have to segue into the newest part of our podcast, which Natalie is the first guest to experience. Because I'm the extra gal, I made a little segue video that's only a couple seconds. But if we're ready, we're going to go into, guess what? That's right. Oh, it's our Let's Try segment. And Natalie, I'm going to like segue here, and we're going to put you here in the seat that says, Anna, it's rapid fire. Anna is going to ask you these questions.
Okay.
We're going to see what you say.
Yeah, there's only 3 questions, and so don't freak out like I'm going to start throwing oddballs at you or anything like that. All right, so we're going to start with Keith. What is it that you would tell small business owners, nonprofits, whoever, what would you tell them to keep about building collaborations in their ecosystem?
Keep doing those conversations and discoveries, right? So that's where it happens. Be open to a maybe. You never know who you're going to meet and who you're going to be talking to. You could be literally at the airport. This happened to me the other day, and I had a great connection. I started telling someone what I did for our veteran and military connected community, and the next thing they're like, oh, I can do something about that. So I think that being open to understanding what other people are doing and not always thinking about your agenda and what you're doing I think is just what you have to do. And when you're building something, right? So you never know where the next conversation is going to take you. So keep doing that. Do discoveries, talk to people, go out, meet the people.
Love it. All right, now we're going the opposite direction. If a small business or a nonprofit is doing this thing, what should they ditch immediately when it comes to this?
I'm going to say it. Chasing unicorns. I love unicorns. I think when you have one, great for you, but it can be expensive. It can honestly hurt your feelings. It can get you thinking that you're not doing the right thing because you're just not in the partnerships where you belong. And there's a lot of power partnerships and things that happen, especially in the nonprofit space, especially in the veteran and military space. A lot is concentrated up at the top. And we advocate for inclusivity. We want to expand the table and bring folks who are closest to the challenges of our community to the table. And sometimes being in that middleman where it's like, gosh, I would really love to be on that stage, or I wish they invited us because we have great expertise here. That happens, but you just have to stay focused where you are. Stop chasing the unicorn. Go after the impact that's right in front of you, that community, local level impact, those partnerships that are there. There's folks that want to force multiply with you. Invest in those relationships. Leave the unicorns alone.
Oh, that's so good. Okay.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite
I love
tip.
that too.
That's going to be the quote. Leave unicorns alone.
Yes, let them do their own thing. Oh my gosh.
Okay, last one in our rapid fire is try. What would you encourage every listener that we have here listening to this podcast to try this week when it comes to building collaborations and partnerships?
Yeah, let's not be a one and done. So when you get that partnership, when you've got someone that's, oh, this is exciting, and maybe you've closed the deal, maybe you put the guardrails, you got an MOU, whatever it is, right? Let's not be one and done. We've got to stay consistent about how we steward. Stewardship is so important in business. It's reaching out to folks. It's making sure that you're staying connected, making sure that you're still aligned, right? So I quarterly track this. And it's hard sometimes, right? But I got a little database behind me and things that help me keep organized. But I am a connected person. That's just how I I roll. But so for me, if you have trouble doing it, look at it as a support strategy. Partnerships are a support strategy to strategic planning for business, for nonprofits, for anything that you're doing, and track it quarter by quarter. Don't let a long time pass between the opportunity that arrived, the conversation that you had, the MOU that you signed, whatever it is, and then that next outreach just says, hey, I just want to check in and I'm thinking about you. Is there anything we can do? Can I do anything for you? So try that, look at it quarter to quarter. That's how we track it, making sure that our partners know that they are appreciated, they are loved, they are supported as well, and they are cared about. They are a part of our mission and we need them and we are so thankful to have them. So keep that up and track it as best you can.
I know.
love.
Do you know what this
Can I-
reminds me of?
Yeah.
No, you go for it.
No,
You go first.
I know, first of all, I just wanted to say for a very first Keep Ditch Try, this is guidance and advice that any small business, AKA nonprofit, AKA for-profit, whatever, can really take to heart and really put this into their own ecosystem. This is like very valuable stuff. And I'm just, anyway, but Anna, I was excited just to sit right.
No, I know. You're echoing, like when we wanted to have you come on to our podcast, one of the things we're talking about is that if you're going to be sustainable, you have to have a strategy in place. You have to have that structure in place. If you're just like going out there and being like, but this is my passion and you should passion it as much as I passion in it, that's not going to work. And so I love what you're saying because it's about intentionality and it doesn't eliminate the passion you have or the love you have for your mission or the love you have for whatever you do that you want to create this partnership around. And that's where I think the beauty in what you're saying is you get both sides of it. You can't just have one or the other and expect it to be a glowing success necessarily.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Anna. I feel the passion is the one thing that folks usually will say when they're on a call with me, like, I can feel the passion. And the answer is, heck yeah, I'm leaning in the whole way. You're going to know that I care about it, but it goes nowhere unless I have a strategy for success.
Yeah.
And unless I have a plan that's going to get me to the outcomes that I've aligned for not only the quarter or the year or the goal, but just the vision that we have for our organization. So it has to be both sides of the coin. And no one's going to be more passionate about the mission, the opportunity that you're championing than your founder, CEO, your executive level, those people that are absolutely invested. So
even though we're going to segue into our one sip takeaway, and this is really for our guests, but I want to give you my one takeaway from today's episode. So if you're sitting there and you're not sure, just think, what would Natalie do? In reality, check yourself. And if you have to be your own tether, which is what Natalie has said, right? If you're flying high, and not that you're not supposed to, but there are moments that you got to come down a little bit so you can see the full picture and sit in that. And again, and leave the unicorn alone. She'll show up, but don't push it. That's in Selena talk. But I just want to say, Natalie, everybody needs a Natalie kind of in their ear to remind them like how to do a really functional, collaborative relationship. You know what I mean? So thank you for that.
Thanks, Selena. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no. Okay. So if listeners remember one thing from today in this conversation with you, what should that be?
I think when it comes down to partnerships, if we're going to talk about that, when we're to tag it out, okay? That trust, that alignment, and those guardrails. Like this stuff doesn't happen in church either. You got to protect yourself. And we can talk about that on another day. And then, Selena, I'm going to go ahead and hit back on what you just said. And again, it's teams, effective teams, how to bring people along. We can come and have another conversation about that because I couldn't do anything without mentors, my board, or my internal team. So I have a tether. So I have somebody that holds me down to the ground and because I need it sometimes. And every once in a while I can cut the string and get up there a little bit. But I've got someone that helps me in that way that keeps me checked. And then our board of advisors and our directors they keep the boulder off my shoulders every single day. So that is about building effective teams, which I think is also really important. And you hit on it. So I wanted to go there, even though
you're coming back, Natalie. Now we know what we're going to be talking about. So don't you worry about that.
So come back and we'll head on that one.
Oh my God. Okay, real fast. Tell everybody where is one place they should find you or your organization, wherever you want them to find you first.
Sure. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to do that anytime. But for my organization and see all the great work that we're doing, you can go to www.veteranscollaborative.com. And myself or a member of my team will be happy to assist with any further questions.
Thank you, Natalie. Okay, so for everybody listening here with us today, we want you to know that everything we've talked about, and all these links that Natalie just threw out there verbally are going to be in the show notes. So head to annandselena.com/blog, and you will be able to see all of that in writing and click and go directly there with one click. Other than that, here's what I wanted to say. I just want to reiterate that little tag acronym you gave us, trust, alignment, and guardrails. I think that right there, if you keep that in mind, even if you jot down a couple of bullet points for each one right before you go out and make that connection with someone, you will be so much better prepared than 99% of the people out there who are just flying by the seat of their pants, hoping that the passion will shine through and the unicorn moment will happen. So I love what you had to say today, Natalie. And I just want to say thank you for being on our show. And we cannot wait to have you back to talk about teams.
I've loved every minute. This has been so amazing and fun. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
All right.
Aloha, everybody.